Welcome to Fake Movies, the podcast where we talk about movies that don't actually exist. This is Mandy.
This is Kelly.
And this is Tom.
This is episode 1, so bear with us while we kind of, get our feet wet into this new podcast. We're all trying, and we're all new podcasters, so, we're kind of just developing this as we go. We're fly by the seat of our pantsers, I guess, here. But we thought we'd kick this off by kind of giving a little background on what this podcast is and why we decided to start it. So I'm going to let Kelly kind of give the little background here on who we are and why you want to listen to us riff about movies that don't exist.
Right. So growing
Don't
up,
be shy.
I'm shy. Growing up, Mandy and I are sisters. I'll just mention that. And all I did as a kid was watch movies and TV. So I have something that I like to call pop culture brain damage, where I'm constantly thinking in movies and just
everything is a movie reference. Everything is a song reference. Basically, we fried our brains by having a cable subscription. And why don't you introduce Tom?
And then I met Tom, who's my partner, and he has the same brain damage.
Well, who doesn't? Who was born in the 80s?
Yeah.
We were all raised in front of the television, and that's how our minds work now. We process information through visual, fictional media.
Yeah.
And here we are, and that's and when you have an idea, when an idea pops into your head, it takes the form of a movie from the 90s,
right?
Yeah,
or the 80s,
yeah,
starring character actors. And so now when we hear a song, you start forming ideas, brainstorming little ideas, and creating little fictional worlds.
So we do this, the three of us, sometimes, since Kelly and I are sisters, and we hang out a lot, and we'll just decide to start riffing about movies that don't exist.
But should.
What's that?
Movies that don't exist but should.
But should, yeah. So I guess this would be like a writer's room if we were successful screenwriters, but we're not. We're just people living in Denver, Colorado, and who happened to see way too many movies in the 80s and 90s, listened to way too much MTV, and now we have great ideas for montages and, credit sequences and soundtracks. So we're going to also be using a lot of music as our inspiration. So we may be using song titles as kind of thought starters while we brainstorm. So episode 1, the song we're going to be talking about is The King of Wishful Thinking by Go West, which we'll play a little clip here. Okay, so if you recognize that song, it was on the Pretty Woman soundtrack. And I don't think anyone really knows much about Go West. I think they were called the Blue-Eyed Rhythm and Blues, or Blue-Eyed Soul. Blue-Eyed Soul.
They had good music before that song came out, too.
Yeah.
Their earlier albums were solid.
And the song came out in 1990.
Yeah.
Just good note.
Yeah, 90, in some ways, 1990 was the most 80s year of all.
Yes.
I feel like the 80s actually didn't end until 1991, late 1991, early 1992.
Yeah, completely. 90 and 91 were hella 80s. And it's, 90's the year that limited edition Pepsi can came out.
Oh.
It's iconic.
And Crystal Pepsi feels 80s as well.
Oh, yeah. Was that 91?
I think that was 91. It could have been 1990. We'll do research in post and edit this.
I'm pretty
Crystal
sure it was
Pepsi.
91. So, The King of Wishful Thinking by Go West was our inspiration. And just, for you guys to know, since this is episode 1, we have talked and riffed and brainstormed this movie for a little bit. And this is kind of our test run here. But really, this movie is all centered around our protagonist, who, Kelly, tell us about our protagonist.
So our protagonist is a man named Chet. He's around 23, maybe?
Sounds about
20,
right.
25.
25.
I imagine.
Okay, he's
Really?
25.
I was thinking 23. But
And if you need to picture Chet, we imagine him being played by a young Ken Marino, who was in the sketch comedy show The State and Wet Hot American Summer, and he just personifies
and
Chet.
he stars in the movie that plays before the roller coaster, Rock and Roller Coaster at Hollywood
Oh, that's
Studios.
right.
At Disney Hollywood Studios. So that should pinpoint everything.
Consummate actor.
Yeah.
So
Perfect lead for this film.
So Ken Marino's Chet, and he lives in Denver. We are always talking about Denver in the 80s and how we wish we could go there, but he is a suit salesman at a department store at the Cinderella City Mall.
So the Cinderella City Mall, who, if you're not a Denver local, you wouldn't even know what this is, but it was an iconic mall in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and it was one of the biggest malls in the U.S.
I think at one point the biggest.
It may have been the biggest when it opened. And, feel free to chime in, Tom. Don't be shy.
Of course.
But I actually never got to go there, but I've admired it from afar. And it's, in my mind's eye, it was just legendary. So Chet is basically a big character at the mall.
He's a ham.
He always greets everybody with a smile. He's kind of like overly friendly.
A little insecure and making up for it with his gregarious nature.
Yep. Kind of like maybe covering up some inner pain.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the very first scene of the movie, we have already decided.
Kelly, well, somebody describe the first scene.
I think Tom
So
should.
music has definitely influenced our kind of plot lines with this one, because certain songs have to happen during certain scenes in this movie. And the very beginning of it, the very beginning of the film proper, we'll get to the animated opening credits later. But the opening scene takes place to the Swing Out Sister song Breakout.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of the beginning of the movie. It's like 6 a.m. The lights all come up at Cinderella City Mall, and they're just like, all the gates start opening, and all the opening employees are shuffling.
The coffee pot gets turned on.
And here comes in Chet.
There's a coffee pot?
Like it'll show the food court.
Oh, okay.
And like somebody's starting to brew the
Doesn't the mall doesn't open till 10. 6 in the morning is a little early for the mall.
Let's say it's 7 in the morning. It opens
Okay.
at 8.
Well, he's got to prep the suits.
Yeah, they all got to
gotta
start getting
steam
it
a
ready
bunch
for
of
the
suits.
day. And in walks in Chet, locking his.
Wait, hold up. Can the soda bubblers start bubbling like in the Orange Julius?
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, definitely. The food court is definitely part of
It
this
comes
opening
alive. It
montage. You just see the mall waking up for the day.
Yeah. Think of it kind of similar to there's a scene in the movie Career Opportunities where they really show Target kind of coming to life, all the lights coming on and all the signage lighting up, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. But we're big fans of montages here. But I just wanted to bring up something, Tom. So Breakout by Swing Out Sister?
Swing Out Sister?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That came out in 1988. So is that about when this movie takes place?
I don't think that they should ever have a newspaper with a date on it.
Okay. I think
I think
don't
it's
want
a
you to
rough.
have any anachronisms in this.
I think it's a rough 1989, 1990.
Okay. Great time period.
Yeah.
We're starting to climb out of the recession. Bush is president.
Bush Senior.
Yes. It's a whole new era. Reaganism's gone, but you know what? I think Chet's kind of a holdover of Reagan.
He is a little bit, yes.
Reagan. Of
Reaganism.
Reaganism.
He's a suit salesman. His hero's Alex P. Keaton for sure.
Yeah. So we've kind of already riffed on Chet that he's overly enthusiastic, perhaps covering up some inner pain, and sort of I would want to say like a social climber almost.
A
Maybe
wannabe.
a soft social climber.
He's not super successful in it.
Yeah, I mean he's a suit salesman.
You can just
He's a suit
you can
salesman in
sense-
Denver in 1990.
Hey, I'll have you know that there was a very fancy French department store in Denver around that time.
Well, I bet that's his dream
No,
job.
he works
and
at
he's
Fashion
jealous
Bar.
Fashion bar. That's
Yeah.
a diss.
Well,
I was thinking its own suit
no,
store.
that's his.
Is
like,
that his dream?
That's
that
his
his big dream?
That's his big dream, but he can't quite get there.
He's
The
kind of
des-
jealous of the guy
The
who works
desperation oozes off of him a little bit.
Is he really passionate about menswear?
Yes.
there. Well, I think he's more of like a watch guy. And
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
and maybe a
I mean,
cologne guy, but he likes suits. But his
You
expertise
guys,
is in.
menswear is a slippery slope because as
It
soon
is.
as soon as you get into menswear, then you're really into ties, shoes, cologne, the whole image. I think he fancies himself a gentleman, like a classy gentleman that doesn't exist in Denver. Because in the 80s in Denver was totally a cow town.
Big
There were
time.
no classy European gentlemen here. And I think he thinks of himself as, Brian Ferry or the guy from the Style Council, like somebody just really sophisticated. He likes sophistopop too.
Oh, yeah.
That's
right?
basically what the soundtrack is.
Yeah.
Is mostly sophistopop, and that's actually the best way to describe him.
Okay. I like him. I mean, I feel good about
Well,
him.
I think
You're supposed to root for him, guys.
the opening scene, like you see how desperate he is. Like, he's like, Sonia, how you doing?
Yeah.
And everybody just kind of looks at him like,
Well, they're just like these dejected Denverites. They're just trying to pay their bills.
The rest of the cast is kind of like Office Space, where they're just like small town normies.
yeah.
Yeah, I
and
like that.
and Chet he thinks he lives in New York City.
Well, so you probably guessed that this is a romantic comedy.
No, we haven't guessed that. Tell us.
So it's a romantic comedy, and Chet has a crush at the mall
Yes.
on Angela. Is that her name?
I don't know if
We're not married to it.
Well, yeah, we think her name's Angela, but she works.
Holly also feels
Holly
Holly.
actually does feel
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
or maybe Valerie.
Valerie, Holly, those are very
And
80s
she
names.
works at the makeup counter in the department store.
Did we
Oh, what's a
settle on
good
that? Did we
brand?
settle on
I
that?
think she should. Do you have something better? Lingerie?
Oh well,
Women's.
just as a side note, when I was a baby, my mom worked at Fredericks of Hollywood
Yeah.
in Cinderella
Should
City
she work
Mall.
there?
She did work there. Actually,
no, but should Holly work there?
I'm wondering. Maybe she should work there. That's actually a nice little touch. There is a photograph of me as a baby in my mom's arms at Fredericks of Hollywood at Cinderella City. I gotta find that.
Yeah, you really do.
We gotta find that. 'Cause
That's gotta be
historical.
in the.
Well,
in
and
the
actually,
podcast.
we should give that to that
actually,
Cinderella City guy who's doing that.
I imagine Holly being kind of like your mom a little bit.
She actually is. So Holly is not like Chet. Holly is a rocker chick.
Wild child.
Yeah.
She does not want to conform to your world's standards. She's a rebel.
Yeah,
And,
a rebel in garter with a
and-
garter belt.
And Chet doesn't understand why he's attracted to her.
Yeah, because
He-
he's kind of a conformist.
He's a big conformist.
Yeah.
It's
you know what?
confusing and
Conformist
scary
dudes
to
are
him.
always attracted to girls that are like kind of edgy.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. It tracks. And she's got like feathered hair, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Leather mini skirts.
Yes.
She likes going to like.
Little.
Is she into
boots.
like hair metal? Probably.
She's into hair metal, but she's into that bar blues stuff like George Thorogood and shit like that. And maybe
Oh, that's
Depeche
kind of
Mode.
left field here. George Thorogood.
I just
Is that
no,
wild?
but I'm imagining him and her ending up
They're
at,
gonna
at
go to
like,
a blues bar. Or
at like
something.
a cowboy bar. It's Denver
Yeah, that's true.
in the 80s. They're gonna end up in a shit kicker place with cowboy boots and some like fucking hard blues rock playing.
Blues hammer.
And he is gonna be scared shitless.
Yeah.
Well, and I kind of pictured he keeps talking to Holly and she's like not
No, hold up.
interested.
He talks to her? I think he should be kind of scared of her.
He has been admiring her from afar for a while.
You don't think
She
he
always
says hello or like waves?
She's always like smoking at outside, like in the employee smoking area when he walks in.
Well,
and
what brings them together?
he just happens to be in the wrong place at
a
the right
meet-cute.
place at the right time. Where, we've discussed how she has a rough around the edges like biker boyfriend.
About 10 years her
if
senior.
Kelly's already cast him.
Her biker boyfriend is Steve Guttenberg. Well, if you've ever seen, you probably haven't. There's a movie. It actually has 2 titles. One is called The Boyfriend School, and the other title
It's called Don't Tell Her It's Me.
Don't Tell Her It's Me. And Steve Guttenberg gets like a biker makeover in
and
it.
he's trying to woo Jamie.
And
Gertz
that's who I
and
picture as Holly's boyfriend.
thug boyfriend.
Yeah.
Except in that movie, he's a nice guy. In this one, he's kind of scummy.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
Chet's like really intimidated.
Very intimidated.
He can't compete with that mullet.
No, way. Those muscles and that mullet.
No,
and
it's
that,
like the leather and
that
chains
hog.
and shit that's like intimidating to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, my theory, my idea was that it's kind of like a Grease 2 situation where where she's like, I'm gonna kiss the first guy that walks into that door,
Oh, yes.
and then Chet stumbles in.
she's trying to make
Yes.
her boyfriend
So
jealous,
th-
which
obviously this relationship she's currently in is very volatile,
yeah.
and it's not working out for. She's gonna dump this guy
constant
anyway.
drama.
Well,
Yeah.
one note, I think Chet goes out on the town a lot because he's trying to find a lady
Love.
friend, and
Hey, he's single in Denver.
and
he's
you know
looking for love.
we know of a couple actual clubs that were in Denver in the 80s, and there was one called Fish Dance.
yeah,
So yeah, there's
fish
a-
dance,
a
the
fish dance
piranha
scene.
room. But he's got to go to fish
So
dance.
he's walking into Fish Dance,
Rock Island.
and Holly's boyfriend just pissed her off or like flirted with another girl. So she kisses Chet. As
I
he
know.
comes
I
in.
know what he was like looking under some waitress's skirt.
Oh, totally, totally.
And she was like, "God damn it, Bubba!" Or what's his name?
Brett. I
No,
don't know.
it rhymes with
Brett.
Chet. Mongo. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a tough biker
Well,
name.
it'll come to us.
Yeah, he's
Deal.
basically
Deal.
he's basically playing grab ass with the cocktail waitress, which would absolutely never fly now. But maybe back then you could play grab ass with the waitress and wouldn't get
It's Chet's good
kicked out of
fortune.
there. Yeah. So she whisks away with Chet just to make her alpha male boyfriend jealous. And it's a classic like mismatched pairing where Chet will be a fish out of water and he's got this girl who's kind of a wild child.
And at first, she really doesn't take him seriously at all.
No, she doesn't
It
even
was-
recognize him from the mall.
No, she doesn't. She's not into him. But as the night goes on,
Oh, it's just one night?
well, no. Well, as the first night goes on, when she first runs away,
There's just something
Do you
about
think
him.
oh,
Like,
could it
kind
be a
of-
situation where she thinks he has money? And she's sort of intrigued and like
Yes.
Well, there was
yes.
that aspect to it. We did talk about him. He's house sitting for his boss at the suit store, and so he invites her over for dinner. Actually, this is another song cue. Is Tina Marie's "Square Biz"? I feel is a really good. He's cooking paella. To
and the
impress her.
kitchen's gonna be really
And
80s.
it's
right?
rocking.
It's like,
and he's
it's
just
like red.
whipping ingredients around, dancing around, making a fool of himself.
And there's a cat
But
like
she's
looking
into
on.
it. She's like laughing. Yes, there's definitely a cat
it,
watching.
it like
Not-
cocks
Is he
it-
cat sitting?
It cocks its head like, what's he doing? Yeah,
This
well, there's a
paella is
cat.
crazy.
There's a cat at the boss's house.
Can the boss's house kind of be reminiscent of the apartment from Three Men and a Baby?
Sure.
Because
the
that's
kitchen,
very-
but it's a mansion in Cherry Hills Village.
yeah, but
it's-
like this. Do you guys do
What
you
a
remember
bo-
that movie?
I don't remember.
The apartment is like
It's his boss's
insanely
boss.
80s. Oh yeah, boss's boss is good.
Yeah, he has to be like a big.
No, it's
Big
not his.
hut.
It's not his boss at the store.
I
It's
know
his
the house
boss's
I'm
boss.
thinking of. It's the Dudley Moore's house in
Arthur?
the movie where he switches places with Kurt.
Like father, like son?
Yes, yes. It's the house from like Father Like Son.
I don't remember it, but I'll have to
Is
watch.
that in Colorado?
No, but it's like a big mansion like that. Wow. The movie references in our movie idea.
I have to
It's
say-
basically a
heavy.
rip-off of already existing movies.
Yeah, it's just
The
a movie
entire thing.
mixtape.
I have to insert a plot point that we
Yeah.
before. Okay, so he bumps into her at the club. She kisses him. She doesn't really care, but he's like, "Hey, I work at the
She's
mall
like,
too."
"Hey, you want to get out of here?
No,
Let's
no.
get out of here." And they whisk away.
See, I don't think they get together that night. I think because I want them to have an awkward lunch around the corner in the mall.
Okay. Was there around the corner in Cinderella City, or does it not need to be?
It
that?
doesn't-
There
need to
was
be
one
that.
at Southwest Plaza.
There was
Yeah,
one
we'll
in Boulder Mall too.
There were lots. That was a restaurant chain in the 80s in Colorado, which turned into Good Times. You might have Good Times.
No, Good Times is only in Colorado.
Oh.
It might
Well,
be in
anyway,
surrounding
it turned into
Maybe
Good Times.
maybe Wyoming. I don't know.
But it was one of those like burger restaurants where you ordered from a phone.
So Kelly, why is it you want them to eat lunch around the corner? Do you imagine something funny happening with the phone?
Maybe.
I think it's mostly that we just want to see round the corner as an establishment represented in film.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's the
fine.
thing.
I
It's
just
like
want to
this,
know the
this
rationale.
doesn't exist, but it should.
It existed at one point, and we want people to be aware. We just
Okay.
want it documented.
So I just want to make sure we've got the plot ironed out here. So they whisk away at the club, and she is like, it's clear that he's misunderstood the situation and thinks there could be genuine interest, and he gets really excited, and he suggests that they have lunch the next day. He's like, why don't we just start with lunch?
Yeah.
Yes, he wants to see her again as soon as
Yeah,
possible.
and she's kind of like, okay, whatever, free lunch.
And then that's when she gets at the awkward lunch near the end of it. There's
And
like
she pulls out like a Platinum American Express
he
card.
says something about like his house in Cherry Hills. He decides to lie about it, and it kind of has like a record scratch moment where she's like, "He's rich."
Yeah.
That's when she finally is like starts paying attention to the conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, she needs some motivation, though. I think we need a little background on her. Like, maybe we find out she is about to get evicted or something like that. Or she's in some sort
she
of
needs
financial...
a place to stay.
Well, what we already she's I don't want to spoil the ending or anything, but she's kind of got some leads in LA.
Yeah.
She's got
Does she just need funds to get
well,
out of here?
She's got possibilities popping up
Is
in
she
LA.
an
She's got
aspiring-
friends in Los Angeles.
she wants to be an actress.
She
right?
wants to get out of Denver, that's for sure.
Well, we should establish this in the bar scene when she gets mad at her boyfriend, that these are her aspirations.
Yeah, no, she wants to get out of this cow town and go somewhere where there's
Yeah,
like
she's
some,
like, "Steele, you're not gonna
people
keep
who
me
are
here.
actually
I've got
cool."
places to go."
And then he'll be like, Holly, you don't have the money to get out of here. You're just stuck in the rat race like the rest of us, as much as you want to pretend you're otherwise. So then it gives, I just, I'm trying to insert, I'm a bad writer. This is bad.
It's got to be consistent. No, it's not bad.
We
It's
just need to know her
not fully fleshed
MO.
out.
We need to know her motivations
Yeah.
and her intentions are.
Well, because we don't want her to be like a bad, like seem like a greedy person. It's more that she's
not selfish, but this movie is an 80s Reagan era movie.
Yeah.
She is
It's
self-interested.
dog world.
Yeah.
She has to look out for herself, and she's doing the best she can. And if she falls in love, she falls in love, and that's awesome, and who doesn't want that? But as far as now, she's never fallen in love. Not with any of these Denver biker dudes she hangs out with.
Yeah.
They're fine to hang out with. They're fun, but
She gotta get
They're
outta
Mr.
here.
Right now, not Mr. Right.
exactly.
So I think she also needs an oversized sleep shirt at some point. I'm just
Yes, I can definitely envision that.
Like with
A Gar- a
Garfield?
Garfield one,
something, some cartoon character.
And it's like
but she's got an edgy like bandana
He
in her head,
expects
though,
her to-
and her hair.
he expects her to wear like sexy lingerie, but then she's got this.
Oh yeah.
And it just demonstrates like how down to earth she
Yeah.
is.
She's got a
and
big
and he's
oversized.
surprised that it actually turns him on more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's kind of edged it up where she has like like kind of like a bandana in her hair or around her hair to make her look sort of edgy.
Is this part of the falling in love montage?
I don't know.
Like, it kicks it off.
I
think.
just envisioned her in a big sleep shirt,
Okay.
and I needed.
Well,
I needed to bring it up.
anyways, she starts to like him. She thinks he has money.
Well, they have their initial lunch, and he name drops the Cherry Hills house, and then he also pays for the lunch with an American Express.
Okay.
And then he invites her to dinner at his house.
Oh my God, this guy might have money. And we could even overhear her talking to like one of her coworkers. Like, I don't know, like he bought my lunch and he's going to make me dinner. Scooter never did that.
Scooter. Hey, that's actually better than what we had.
yeah.
Or
I
he
mean,
might
maybe
be-
I need a guy who's going to take care of me. You know, what's so wrong with that? I know I'm like punk or whatever, but
That's good.
yeah. She's like, I'm kind of old fashioned, you know, I'm not like a bra burner or anything.
So then she goes, that the dinner is that night.
That's a lot of activity right in a row. A
Well-
lunch and then dinner that night?
No,
But
it's not that night. It's a
Some
couple.
time could pass.
No, it's a couple of days, and he has to prepare. And then he goes and talks to. I don't know if we introduced him, but at the beginning, when he's at work, he works with his, fat best friend, who's a big misogynist. Big
Oh,
misogynist.
we've not mentioned the fat best
He's got
friend.
a Hawaiian shirt.
I
He's
forgot.
the party animal. He's the one who's like, why you got to try to respect these women anyway? They're just a bunch of fuckholes. That kind of guy, right?
Oh my gosh.
Maybe it's a PG-13 movie, but you
Yeah.
know, we all know the character. He's
Yeah.
his jerk friend, and he's like, "What do I do?" It's like I finally met her. She's coming over tonight to the boss's house. I got to make something, and he's like, "Nah, don't worry about that. You know, just make her a nice dinner and get her drunk."
So the fat best friend, he's got really bad advice, right?
Horrible advice.
Yeah, he's got horrible advice. Is he actually going to influence Chet, like, to do something stupid at some point? Like, women love it when you're just an asshole to them.
Chet-
And then he tries to be an asshole.
Chet is going to be like weighing that. He's very indecisive about those things. He doesn't know what he wants to do or how to do it. He's unsure what is going to work to get the girl.
Well, he
And
just
so he
needs to
kind
be
of-
himself. That's
He kind of fumbles through it no matter what he tries.
So the irony is what he needs to do to get the girl is be himself, and he's just trying to be everybody but himself, right?
Mm-hmm. That's the lesson.
So she needs to get a glimpse of the real him. Should they have a tender moment where she sees who is he really?
That is one problem with this story so far, is that we don't really actually have
a good
I don't-
idea.
I don't
of who
actually
he
think
is.
Chet knows who he is yet.
Yeah.
Chet does not know who he is.
But I think she could be like, you need to loosen up. You're always so stiff. You're always smiling. Like,
Is she from Jersey?
I don't know.
She seems a little
I mean, this is
Jersey-esque.
working though, isn't it?
She,
You're so stiff. Like, you're one of those mannequins in your store. You need to just relax.
Oh,
her family moved to Denver when she was 14.
yeah. Okay. I like
She
that
grew
she's
up
a
in Newark.
East Coast wild child.
Yeah.
She hates it in Denver.
Yeah, there's nothing to do here.
She's so bored here. So I think Chet also drives a car that's above his pay grade, that, conveys to the world that he's probably a little bit more well off than he actually is.
And he's like, and
Not
he
a
spends
Beamer,
all his money
not
on
a
the lease
Beamer,
of the car.
but maybe an Audi or something, or a Volvo, or I don't know, some 80s car that looks bougie and waspy.
A Miata?
Ooh, well, Miatas actually didn't come out until, that will anachronize this. I don't think they
I'd
came
have
out
to
till
do
91.
some car research. I don't
Well,
really.
just envision something that's kind of a yuppie car, kind of sporty.
Definitely
Too
a
bad it couldn't be a
convertible,
Porsche.
right? A convertible, not a Porsche, but like what's like a low rent convertible, a lower rent.
I don't know. A Volkswagen? Should he
What
drive
if
a
it's like that
Volkswagen?
little-
I actually was envisioning Chet driving a Toyota Celica.
What if it's like
Okay.
that car that Cindy Mancini had?
That's what I'm thinking of. A Volkswagen.
Was that a? Did it have a top?
Let's say he drives a Honda Del Sol.
Okay. That was a convertible, a red one with a white top.
Yeah.
I can't believe I know that. But that was a Volkswagen. I can't remember. Not the Rabbit, but the one above that.
Oh, that's good.
Two-seater Honda Del Sol. It might not have come out back then. It might be from the 90s.
Well, I don't think we need to name the make and
Yeah,
model,
it's okay.
but just
You
just
can
imagine
picture it.
something that's
Sporty, light,
possibly high end, but maybe
more
not.
expensive than he can actually afford.
Yeah.
Yeah, his apartment's actually pretty crappy because he'd
Yeah.
rather,
He spends it on clothes in his car.
Yeah. So
he lives in Glendale.
should she drive his
Yeah.
car and kind of drive it recklessly, and it really like illustrates how uptight he is, and that's when she's like, you need to relax.
Yeah.
Makes him nervous. Do they go on a drive up into the mountains on I-70?
Maybe.
Do they like just
Lookout Mountain.
Oh, yeah. That's actually good.
That's
But,
very
I'm
romantic,
not
though.
sensing, like, romance yet. Like, I don't know
They
how
see
we're going to
it-
get to the point where we have a montage where they're falling in love, which is what I'm picturing.
Kelly is already jumping ahead to the montage. Okay, so they have lunch around the corner. She gets a glimpse of him being rich. She goes back to Fredericks of Hollywood, talks to her little coworker where she's like, I don't know, maybe I deserve a nice guy. You know, a guy who's going to take care of me.
I'm like Scooter.
Scooter's never bought me lunch. Okay. Then she goes over for dinner. He makes the paella. The cat.
Stairs.
The cat's like watching on. Is it a disaster? Why is it so funny?
Oh,
Can
actually-
there be a part where somebody takes off an item of clothing and accidentally throws it on the cat?
sure.
That's pretty good.
Okay, thanks.
No, it's actually Chet. He like
His tie or something.
his vest.
Yeah. He throws the vest.
He
Okay.
rips the vest off.
But anyway, she's
And
a
then-
really
and
good
at
kisser.
dinner, she's like, well, you're really a classy guy, ain't ya? And because he's like, this wine is, he's like all cultured about the stupid wine.
Also, Chet's never been east of Nebraska
Yeah.
or like west of Las
Right.
Vegas.
Yes.
So he's never been
stayed
anywhere,
in the
is what
mountain
you're
time
saying.
zone. He's only stayed in mountain time zone. So what leads her to want to give Chet a chance?
Something's got to make him break down his walls, and
The
something's
thing
such a
about
phony.
Chet as our leading man, he is sweet. We are supposed to root for him. He is us, that inexperienced, unsure hero of the story who you don't expect to get the girl, who shouldn't get the girl, but she sees something in him. She sees that he has a heart.
Yeah, I think he needs
She
to
sees-
he needs to
she-
show that during this dinner somehow. Either maybe he reveals some personal detail about himself that's attractive to her. He's not her type, but maybe he serenades her on flamenco guitar.
No.
I mean, the paella. I got carried away.
No, that's too much. I think that I don't know what it is.
Should we
but
come back to it?
yeah,
Well, okay.
Well, anyways, he's got a lot of
They
heart,
fall-
and she sees it somehow.
she falls for it somehow.
Okay, but wait, that's a big sticking point, though. That's a plot hole. So
What?
Plot hole.
why?
Why is Chet attractive?
Well, and
Why?
I'm thinking
He is cute, though.
I'm
It's Ken
thinking we'll
Marino.
probably take suggestions post episode, where if you have an idea for
Maybe
For
she
the
just
movie.
really makes her laugh while they're having this dinner, and she's like, at the end, she's like, I don't think I've ever laughed on a date before.
oh, that's good.
It's true. We have to, we're not good at coming up with the jokes. That's like the writer's room stuff.
Yeah.
We're coming up with the plot line.
We're coming up with the big overarching things, but I think like he's kind of goofy, and he's kind of making her laugh and
Yeah.
giggle a little bit, and
I think that when they kiss, also there's a lot of chemistry that she.
they're
didn't-
gonna kiss.
Well,
It's so fast.
at some point, I
Yeah.
don't know.
I think that there has to be a moment where she's kind of in peril, and Chet
Trauma
makes her,
bonding?
and Chet makes her feel safe.
Well, either
Is that
way,
when she is on the nightgown?
either way, they end up. He asks her to go out again, and she
Yeah.
says yes. She doesn't know why. She's skeptical, but she says yes.
And
they
then
end up,
on that date,
and-
she
well,
really
but they-
starts to like him.
they start dating.
Yeah.
They end up dating.
Can
for a
he
while.
kind of like half-ass take the fat best friend's advice The fat best friend is like, I don't know, man. You just gotta make her laugh, and you just gotta keep seeing her. Fill up her calendar. Fill up her nights and days. I want you dreaming about her. I want her to dream about you.
Persistence.
Yeah.
pays
But
off.
then it annoys her, or
No, it like
no, it kind
somehow
of
kind of
Oh, it
works.
works.
No, it
Yeah.
works because then they're
Chet-
together all the time.
Because Chet is low self-esteem and doesn't really know who he is. He needs to be taking advice from somebody who's not him. Because
Yeah.
if it were up to him, and he was following his instincts, he would have never asked her out
he
or
wouldn't
taken
do
her
anything.
to lunch.
He
So
would just be stewing.
Another song on the soundtrack to note, and this is jumping ahead a little bit, but the falling in love montage where they're going on dates, maybe they're going to
Well, during this
Elitch
montage,
Gardens.
they're definitely going to Denver Landmark.
yeah.
yes,
They're going to.
But
16th Street Mall and getting a
16th
hot
Street
dog.
Mall, Casa Bonita, perhaps.
Perhaps.
Oh my God, please.
Elitch Gardens.
The old one.
Yeah.
In its original location.
original-
Maybe when they go to Casa Bonita, can he like jump up and grab the maracas from the
Yes.
mariachi band?
Yes.
And
yes.
surprise her.
Also, the song that's playing is Lessons in Love by Level 42,
Yeah,
which I think
excellent song.
came out in like 87 or something.
Yeah,
But
iconic.
Chet is learning the ultimate lesson in love.
Yeah, but
so-
it's a happy montage. It's not unlike the love montage from Valley Girl.
that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, where it just shows them having fun.
She's
Well,
letting
it's
her
like the
guard
nice
down.
lazy way to show love because you don't, it's like, look, they're falling in love. We're not gonna
Well, we
show
do
it.
need to show why it is she is
right,
giving him a shot.
but this is like really solidifies their romance.
Should we show him also like using this American Express card over and over again?
Yes.
Yes.
To like show how he's
Financial
kind of
trouble.
getting in over his head.
Yes.
And then something happens.
What happens?
Well, she figures out that he was lying about where he
So-
lives.
Yeah. And he has to have like lied about something else.
Maybe actually this is where she's in her nightgown. Is when
Yeah.
she spent the night at his boss's house, and then boss's
She
boss
finds-
comes home from Tahiti or wherever,
Yeah.
and there they are in his bed.
Yeah. And she's like,
And actually, Chet gets
Chet,
fired.
I think you got something to tell me. And he's like, this isn't my house. And she's like, who are you?
And she storms out of
Like,
there.
I don't even know who you are. I've known you a month, and I'm like, who is Chet?
Yeah.
Well, and then also, I'm pretty sure his boss also fires him in this.
Yeah.
scene.
Oh, shit.
He's gonna
What
lose his
song
job.
plays during when they break
Oh,
up? I don't know if it's right. The one I had in mind.
oh, was it from the
It-
Manhunter soundtrack?
Yeah, it's like a heartbeat by.
I mean, it's a little too dramatic for getting caught by your boss.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that song is super intense. I feel like it's a good breakup for like something really horrible. But this is kind of a.
Should it be Surrender by Roxette?
No, that comes later.
Okay.
No, that comes later.
Couldn't it just be some haunting, some haunting
Score.
instrumentals?
Something Tangerine Dream did for a
Tubular
soundtrack in the
Bells?
80s.
Yeah. No, I like the Tangerine Dream idea.
Okay.
That's good. I'm thinking of like.
Well, that Love on a Real Train song would actually be pretty good.
Or maybe some Vangelis.
Okay.
Yeah. Just something that's kind of
Subtle.
Moody.
subtle, moody. Yeah. And they like basically, she storms off outside of the boss's house. But I think that we need to slow things down here because this is like a 45-minute movie if things like escalate from here.
No, all this stuff's fleshed out.
Okay.
No.
Yeah,
No,
this
no.
isn't everything.
We're going over the basic skeleton of the story. It's good for us
Well,
to be
we
able
need
to
to go back
tell
and
it
fill things
in
in.
45 minutes, but we're not actually making the movie, so we don't actually have to do the details.
Do we need to give
Well-
a little bit of background on Chet? Like, do we want to like have a scene that really conveys how there's some love, there's something to him that's sort of
Well, maybe we see a little bit of his childhood where he's just like a small boy and his mom is very much about appearances and very domineering kind of mom, and his dad just never says anything. He just
I
sort
have
of
an
drinks
idea.
whiskey and like goes to work and comes home and sits in front of the TV or reads a newspaper.
I have a really good. Well, maybe it's not good. So earlier we Tom kind of briefly mentioned that there's going to be cartoon credits.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yes.
if I'm.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, we have to get to this before the end.
There's
That was
many
very big in
great films that have cartoon credits, like Troop Beverly Hills, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, Loverboy, Mannequin.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
So we definitely want cartoon credits of like a Chet character in a crown
A crooked crown.
while the King of Wishful Thinking plays, and he's like getting kicked, going into clubs, and like it's just showing him doing stuff. But maybe before he's going into the department store, there's like a childhood scene. And then it shows him like walking as a kid, but then it morphs into him like walking into the department store and that montage.
But he's always been like, Chet's always been girl crazy his whole life. When he was in first grade, he like had a big crush on the pretty girl in class. He's just always been pining over pretty girls.
So I can just pause it. Okay. So Tom was just talking about how Chet is girl crazy. Oh, what I was gonna say was maybe in the flashback that kicks us off in the movie after the animated credits, maybe it's a scene where basically Chet's a little kid and he's with his dad, and there's some sort of scene that conveys to him that his dad's like, you want to get the girl, you gotta have money. You gotta have class. Why is everyone from Jersey?
His dad's from New Jersey too, but he was born in Denver.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like he's got like this key moment in life
that sticks in his head.
Yeah.
Well, and his mom seems very concerned with wealth and status.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what the scene is, but maybe it's got to be short and can give a lot of info. So it's got to convey that the mom is sort of materialistic. Maybe the dad dispels some wisdom upon young Chet, where he's like, you know, keep your mom happy, get the new car, get her the best clothes.
Perhaps he accidentally waxed their Rolls Royce with a wiffle ball bat in the 70s, something like that. Or
he what?
Chet does?
Yeah.
Oh,
as a little boy, he accidentally
and then he
smacks their car.
Yeah. So basically, he's been taught to win people over through material means, not through his personality. So that is kind of informing his personality.
And also maybe he, as an adult in present day, 1990, there's scenes of him talking on the phone with his mom, and she's like, "When are you gonna get out of that crappy apartment? And how are you ever gonna find a wife in a place like that?
Yeah,
with your job, are you ever gonna become a manager there?"
I just have an idea for the animated credits, and it's gnawing at me, so I need to
share. And
it kind of goes along with him thinking he needs to be rich and classy. He's got a crown in the credits, but at one point it gets knocked off and like goes back and is the eye and king of wishful thinking.
Oh yeah,
like when the title comes up.
That. Yeah,
it knocks off
those little details make it, Kelly.
Yeah, it was just getting to me. I had to get it out there.
Okay, so then this is a tangent we got on because we were trying to establish what the fight is about and what the conflict is in their relationship. And the conflict is that Holly really didn't expect to fall in love. She really just wanted basically a little bit of support in getting to LA. And she thought Chet was a gateway to that. So,
but she didn't. He was growing on her before she found this out.
Yeah.
He's like, he's cute, and he's funny, and he's catching her off guard.
So there's got to be a scene where she talks to
her
coworker again, and the coworker's like, "So he's got money or something, right?" And Holly's like, "I don't know, like I thought so, but I don't really care anymore." We have to see that she doesn't care, otherwise she's gonna be a bitch.
Well, but she toys around with going to LA, and like that's the whole ending.
She started being attracted to him because she thought he had means. She started liking him more by spending time with him, and by the time she finds out the money was pretend, she still likes him.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to because he lied. That's even worse than the fact that he doesn't have money.
But
if he was poor, that wasn't even a big deal.
Yeah, she's like,
But
do
she
I
was gonna
really
go to-
know him?
But she was going to go to LA anyway, and all the dudes she's been with lied, including this newest one.
Yeah.
Even the sweet guy who's nothing like any of those biker guys, he's lying. So nothing's keeping her anymore.
But then
could
she
just
also
take a
feels
bus.
guilty.
She doesn't need any money to get over there.
Well, but we need a Stapleton Airport scene.
What's wrong with the bus depot scene?
That-
no,
might-
I think
maybe
I think Stapleton Airport is important. That it takes place there.
Maybe a bus is better. I don't know.
No, I think it's good because back then,
I just want him to knock over some luggage.
But I like pre 9/11. You don't need to have an airline ticket to go into the
Yeah.
airport.
You could actually like
Yeah.
run
Just
into
go
the
run
gate.
to the gate, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
I just think that we really need to go. I really would like to round out more details into what it is that, like, their love story. So if you have ideas, submit them because we're open to this, because I feel like it's going to feel like they're in love already. Like they've barely started hanging out.
But that's like,
I know
very
that's every
common,
movie.
yeah.
I actually like. at
because
one-
Valley Girl is just like an initial club scene and then a montage, basically.
This movie is basically a ripoff of
It's
Valley
not-
Girl and Career
it's
Opportunities.
not-
Yeah, I like that though.
it's
a
not Martin Scorsese. We don't
I know.
need to like.
We're not trying to remake a
This isn't The
masterpiece.
Godfather here.
Yeah, like they're in love. We showed you in the montage.
Yeah,
That's all you
it's
need.
They are in love. Believe us. Can you, Kelly? I want to hear more about what happens in the montage. What
Oh,
what
gosh.
what images
feeding
happen?
feeding her a French fry,
Where
like at the Denver
did they
diner.
go? Did they go back to around the corner?
No, I think they go
No,
like to the
that's
Denver
lame.
diner.
It's like
or
a cool.
something.
It's like a cool. I don't know.
or just a
Denver-
diner, just a diner.
Can he take her up into the the rafters of some play and show her a play?
But I feel like during this montage, he takes her to his clubs, and then she takes him to her clubs.
Yeah.
Like there's.
Oh, Tom, we got to talk about the club scene.
Yes. So they definitely, they go to the
George Thorogood
yeah,
club
no, they,
scene.
They have to end up in a shit kicker biker bar.
Mm-hmm.
That's playing some. There's like a band there playing blues rock.
Yeah.
And there's like a fight going on, and he's terrified, and
Yeah.
she's like, oh, and she like knows everybody there.
Yeah.
And she's just like, oh, this is my friend Roy. He's a sweetie. And he's like a 500-pound dude with a big beard.
Can she pull him onto a dance floor by his tie?
Yes.
Yeah, that's got to happen.
And one of her male friends is like, you better treat her right. She'll rip
Yeah.
your heart out, kind of thing, you know? A lot of chewing tobacco getting spit around.
I don't know if this tracks. Honestly, I thought she was
Kelly
more-
was Kelly and I were really taken aback by this George
I feel
Thorogood.
like she's like alternative. Like she
Yeah.
goes to,
So
like,
she is alternative.
but she's not friends with. They can go to a shit kicker bar, but she's not friends with anyone there. She goes to the goth club and like the punk.
She goes to
shows.
Rock Island.
But she's not afraid of scary
No, but she doesn't have a
places.
friend named Bubba. No. It's not adding up. That's
No,
all I'm
she knows
saying.
everybody in town. She knows all the coolest people.
Well, she runs. There's like a biker there. Okay, she's like friends with some bikers too, who like maybe go there too. But I don't. It's not like she's a cowgirl.
Maybe it's a metal bar. Maybe it's a metal place.
something. But there's got to be a big fella in overalls who like Chet accidentally makes mad,
Bumps into
and then
spills
Yeah.
something on his shoes.
yeah, and then they have to run out of there, and that's when the montage starts.
Kelly's got it all ironed out.
But yeah, I don't know. French fry feeding, like maybe they go to the zoo and they're like feeding the animals. You know, like all sorts of like he gets ketchup on his shirt, and
go to
she like
Civic Center
wipes
Park?
and she like wipes the ketchup off like delicately. I don't know, all sorts of stuff. You know, laughing.
Did
Lots
they
of
spend,
laughing?
Did they spend any time in nature? Did they go to the
No.
mountains or anything like
No.
that? No. I like how you like lean forward like you're on Jeopardy
No,
to answer that. No, Alex.
No mountains.
No, I disagree. I think they do take a drive to the mountains.
They go to what was that theme park in Golden?
Heritage
Oh,
Square.
Heritage Square.
Maybe they do go to Heritage Square. Did
Way
she
too
take him
many-
down the Alpine slide?
There's way too many Denver details.
No,
in
this is
movie.
a Denver movie. That's actually
This is the first love letter to Denver movie that
This-
exists.
This movie has more to do with the city of Denver than it has to do with Chet and Holly.
No,
No, this
No, it's like
Getting crazy
It's the
here.
background to it. It's a love letter to our childhoods. The story around it is not. It's not irrelevant, but it's not the main
I'm
character.
gasping. So then, with that in mind, Tom, we really need to have a lot more details about the mall
Yes,
in
no,
this visually.
I feel like a lot of this movie should take place at Cinderella City.
Yeah.
I just want to throw a shout out to there's a guy running an Instagram page called the Cinderella City Project, and he's recreating the Cinderella City Mall digitally.
Yeah. So if you're curious about what went on in
Chet's
this mall,
workplace.
go look.
I don't even know if there's a fashion bar there, so I gotta check
I'm
that.
against him working at Fashion Bar, honestly. So
What?
What other stores would there have been?
this is a fictional
Does
like
he work at-
men's.
does he work-
Please?
Does he work
No.
at J.C. Penney?
No,
because
it's
I
a-
almost thought
it's
he
its
worked
own menswear store.
I almost thought it was an anchor,
It's a
but-
boutique.
Yes.
Could it be Men's Warehouse?
No, it's like a
What about
like
the
middle
men's
tier,
shop,
like
like in-
Joseph A. Banks,
Like
Yeah.
in Mall
style.
Madness. The
Yes,
men's
the
shop.
men's shop. It's just for men, and he doesn't meet any women, and that's his big gripe with the fat best friend.
No,
He's like,
I have to say,
I love menswear. I'm passionate about it, but God,
All
there's
the
just
women
no
are on
chicks.
the. It's
But
all
I
the
imagine-
women are on the other side of the mall, which is
Yeah.
a direct quote from Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
but I imagined that it was taking place in an anchor because
Me too.
I thought that
Because
there was,
he's saying hi to
I
the
thought there was
people.
women working there in the women's department.
Yeah.
and like
It's
Well,
an
whatever,
anchor.
I'll
and
let
like
it go.
some
I
older
can let it
dude
go.
who was working in it was like almost a Sears in my
I
brain.
think it's whatever Macy's was in the 80s, which I don't
It's
remember.
JCPenney. I feel like it's J.C. Penney.
in the 80s,
Or
Macy's
Joslyn's.
in Colorado was Joslyn's.
It's Joslyn's.
Yeah.
is what it is.
Or Mady and Effer Foley's.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Okay.
We don't need to.
Or Montgomery Ward.
Another thing to note
He works at Montgomery Ward.
is we're gonna try to make a soundtrack for every episode, so we'll make
Yeah,
sure.
we'll definitely have a playlist for this whole. May have a soundtrack. It'll be 15, 16 tracks long.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
need to talk about the conclusion.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, of course. We got to wrap this up.
So Holly, I forgot her name for a second. Holly's pissed and she's like, I'm just gonna go to LA. I can't trust men. And she's leaving either on an airplane or a bus.
No, I like Stapleton
Okay, she's
Airport.
at the airport. They see her check in, and should the fat best friend
No, yes,
encourage
no,
him
yeah.
to go?
No, actually, so ever since she dumped Chet,
He's like
he's actually like, okay, well, fuck her. I'm just gonna
I'm done with.
I'm just gonna work on bettering myself
And my
and working
career.
on the next thing and moving on. And his fat best friend says, I'm miserable. The way I treat women is horrible. Nobody likes me.
Didn't you
Gotta
steal-
be
Isn't that
comeuppance.
from The Wedding Singer?
Pretty much, yes. And yes, exactly, yes. And he's just gonna come clean about how it doesn't work for him. So why are you trying to be like me?
And he goes, go get her.
No,
Yes.
I actually have a different idea. So let me pitch this to you guys. I think that the fat best friend should be like, listen, women are all the same. Like, why are you all hung up on her? Just find the new chick. There's a new chick at Fredericks of Hollywood. She's just as hot as Holly.
She's actually even hotter.
Yeah. And so Chet listens to his heart for the first time ever.
Oh yeah,
good
actually
one.
you're right. Yours
yeah,
is
and
better.
he's like, you know what?
I'm
I'm
done
not going to
taking
listen to you
advice.
for once. Like,
He's like,
I gotta get Holly. There's no one else like her on earth.
He's like, look at you. You're a miserable sack of shit.
Yes.
Yeah, he's like, for once,
I'm gonna
not
listen
taking
to
anybody's
what
advice.
I want to do. I'm going to get the girl.
So he dashed like lots of like traffic hiccups as he
With,
goes
like,
to the airport.
Bad traffic in Denver
Back
in
and forth
1990.
between, like, her, like,
Takes 20
checking-
minutes to get to the airport.
Her checking in at the airport.
Now, first
and-
he needs to find out
It's
like,
raining.
where she is. All he knows is she quit.
oh yeah, he goes
Oh,
and asks
yeah.
her friend at Fredericks of
He
Hollywood.
goes to Fredericks first.
Yeah. So he has to like. There's this mad, intensity where we
Can
realize
he
he's.
spill a tray of orange Julius? Or is
Yeah,
this
he
too
knocks
slow?
over.
He-
He
He
knocks over the
pushes it
display of
running
oranges
through
at
the-
Orange Julius.
Yeah, yeah.
running
that's good.
through the
Yeah.
The mall.
Yeah, and so he's a race against the clock because if this is 1990, once she's in LA, she's gone. I mean, really, in those
He can't
days,
find her. No.
in those days, you didn't have the same phone number when you moved. If she cuts off contact with the coworker at the mall,
No cell phone.
she's gone for good.
Yeah.
And he knows this, and he is sweating bullets. I think that this should be some sort of symbolic gesture that he's leaving materialism behind. Like maybe like he like breaks his Rolex, his fake Rolex, as he's like,
And he doesn't
running,
care, and he
like,
steps
whatever,
on
and
it.
he's like steps on it, yeah, or better yet, drives over it with his car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the song we had in mind, I actually don't know if it's the best fit, but "Surrender" by Roxette.
That is the best fit.
because he's surrendering to love.
It's actually
and-
definitely raining right now too.
Yeah.
Hard. It's like a thunderstorm.
Yeah. We see the lights of the traffic signal in
And-
his car as the windshield goes, and he's just like, I could lose her forever if I don't get to there in time. And it's very heartbreaking and tender.
And of course, he runs up just as she's like about to board the plane, and he has
And-
to like yell.
And we do see shots of her, you know, in line, ready to board, or like just sitting in the waiting area. And she, even though she's like determined, she's having second thoughts. Clearly, you can see it in her face that she's just like.
she
thinking-
kind of keeps
she's
looking
thinking about
behind her
him.
like,
She's
could
thinking
someone
about
be
him.
running up to the gate anytime soon?
There's only one thing that's making her doubt her decision to leave.
She sees something in the airport that reminds her of Chet. Like maybe there's something.
a
There's
paella stand.
No, like a tie stand.
Oh my god!
I know, right? A small Jose Bank store at the airport.
And she's like, and we know that she's thinking about it.
Or
And
she,
maybe
she smells some cologne that smells like him.
yeah, and maybe we even see like her remember the good times, like a little flash of all the good moments that they had for like the 2 weeks they hung out.
His goofy face.
Yeah.
His tenderness.
Yeah.
Did they have sex?
Yes.
Yes.
They had sex.
He's a tender.
They've had
lover.
sex
Yeah.
3 times, I feel like.
Should he make an announcement over the the gate PA where he's like,
Actually,
Holly,
I think that's good. I
He's
think
like-
Ken Marino could pull that scene
Yeah.
off.
Holly
Yeah,
Jenkins, I'm never letting you out of my sight.
If you get on that,
You're only going to
plane-
LA if you're going with me.
Yeah,
fly out
and
of-
then they embrace and
Yeah.
twirl and the end.
Yeah. And then a animated crown lowers over the screen and then the credits come up.
ding, a little ding sound.
Yeah, a little ding.
And then it plays King of Wishful Thinking again.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a freeze frame of them. in embrace.
Oh yeah, freeze frame. Do you like me
Yeah.
trying to sing
Good
the
one.
instrumental?
So,
So that's the King of Wishful Thinking.
If you have any plot points that came to mind or songs you think would work, I
Other
don't have
little
any contact info at this time, but
Insert contact info here.
it'll be in the description or something.
yeah, we'll have
Oh, yeah.
an email address ready for you guys
Yeah.
shortly.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
we'll share a playlist for the soundtrack when this episode comes out. So
Yep. Thanks for listening.
so yeah, thanks for listening to Fake Movies.
Welcome to Fake Movies.
Welcome.
Episode 1.
And we're excited